please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Peters has expressed a concern about the fleet, and I want to echo that in questions for both Mr. Raven and Dr. LaPlante. The most recent 30-year shipbuilding plan submitted last year calls for a Navy of between 321 and 372 ships. A December 2020 version of the plan calls between 382 and 446 ships. The Navy's most recent publicly released force structure assistance called for 355 ships. And as you know, that is the statutory requirement passed by this Congress and signed into law by the President of the United States. Yet recent testimony from the Chief of Naval Operations indicates the fleet cannot grow from its current roughly 297 ships without a larger budget. In the recently passed FY22 omnibus, Congress responded to a need shared on both sides of the aisle for a larger fleet by committing the resources necessary to move us in that direction. In a bipartisan manner, we voted for $26.7 billion to procure 13 Navy ships. This was $4.1 billion more than President Biden asked for in his request. So, Mr. Raven and Dr. LaPlante, please respond to this set of facts. What are your views on the most recent 30-year shipbuilding plan and the various analyses and requirements for the size of the Navy? What mix of ships do you believe should be emphasized, and what are your plans to fund the Navy, particularly shipbuilding? We'll start with Mr. Raven first and then go to Dr. LaPlante.
Thank you, Senator Wicker. In terms of establishing a good shipbuilding plan for the Navy, I think there's a couple elements here. First of all is, of course, as you mentioned, the 30-year shipbuilding plan. That is the signal to industry of what to expect for future years, so industry can prepare to build those ships in the most effective manner possible. And let me also add that the authorities provided by this committee to make sure that industry can operate efficiently in building those ships is a very critical tool.
Absolutely.
I would also add that the force structure assessment that is ongoing and should be released shortly is another key element of what the warfighting requirements will be. I really look forward to reviewing both that force structure assessment and the 30-year shipbuilding plan when it comes out in the very near future. And
could you be a little more specific about the very near future?
My understanding is that the Department of Defense is planning to release those. I'm afraid I can't be more specific than the near future, but I understand it will be soon.
Dr. LaPlante, what do you say to this? And will you commit to working with the Navy and the Marine Corps on their requirements and not simply letting OSD and OMB determine the requirements for the services?
Absolutely. Force levels and all the force level studies that were talked about, I will support them and do whatever I can to make sure these requirements are met. And again, thank you to the committee for giving the authorities for the ships that you just described, Senator.
And do you have any views about the question I asked Mr. Raven? What mix or types of ships and the various requirements for the size of the Navy?
Yeah, all I would say is that, I mean, obviously we need more numbers, as has been said many times. Quantity has a quality all its own. As far as the exact force structure, I'm not current on the current O plans to really be able to answer that. My bias of my background is we want survivable and we want strike, but I would really look forward, if confirmed, to see the force structure that is being offered by the Navy or recommended.
Okay, and quickly, in the recently passed 22 Omnibus, Congress responded to needs by appropriating $625 million for shipyard infrastructure optimization plan. This was $219 million above President Biden's budget. How will you work to ensure that our government depots, ammunition plants, labs, and shipyards are sustained and modernized? And can you say whether you support increased funding to these areas? Dr. LaPlante.
Yes, Senator. Thank you. I believe our infrastructure overall needs attention, whether it's the shipyards and the like, and also the workforce for the shipyards. And yes, I support increased funding. As we know, as we see in Ukraine, sustainment and readiness of the force has to be a top priority, and we have to fund these areas. That's going to continue to give a ready force for years to come.
Mr. Raven, shipyards, depots, military infrastructure.
Senator, these facilities are key to generating readiness. There's been much discussion about the shipyards, and I agree that this is a once-in-a-century bill that needs to be addressed. And I also would support looking at the other facilities that help generate not only service member readiness, but industrial readiness. So I would look forward to working with you on those issues.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.